Trappers, it's Ed Snyder, Kansas Trapline Products, bringing you to this new YouTube video. I want to feature Jason Vance. He's out of Maine, and I had the pleasure of running a little bit with him here in 2021, ain't it? Yep. 2021. So Jason has had a lot of success here. I mean, he's tore them up. Why don't you talk about your numbers? Let's start with Maine. How many you've got in Maine, and then you turn right around and you come to Kansas?
In Maine, I trapped 77 coyotes and 128 fox.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And for Maine?
Yes, yeah, for Maine.
I mean, so what's a good year for an average year for coyotes in Maine?
I mean, I know a lot of people that catch, 10, 12.
10, 12, and you turn right around and got 70.
Our total catch for the season is usually about 1,700.
1,700 statewide for coyotes. Yeah, that's wonderful. And fox, similar type of thing. I mean, can a guy get 100 fox?
I mean, you can get 100 fox if you work at it.
Okay.
I mean, but it's working at it and having a lot of land to
deal with.
Yeah.
To deal. So about how many in Maine? How many acres would you run approximately in that category? That's always informational there.
Right. I don't know how many acres. It's more or less farms. Okay. I get probably about anywhere from 50 to 60 properties. Yeah, properties.
Okay, 50 to 60. A lot different than in Kansas.
Kansas, yeah. You can go to one person and get that amount.
You can get that amount in Kansas. Every state's a little different and stuff. So I guess the next thing is let's talk about Kansas. So you've been here. You've been here just a little over what, 2 weeks now?
I got here December 31st.
Yeah.
Set traps out. I set 4 traps out the first day I got here.
First day. Did you catch anything the first day?
The next day I caught 1 coyote.
1 coyote. 1 out of 4. 25%. That's kind of a testament as to what as to what he's been doing, because it hadn't stopped.
It hasn't stopped.
It hasn't stopped.
I keep thinking it's going to die down, and it doesn't. They just keep coming.
So Jason's averaging a ballpark of 12 a day skinned, and he's had today. You caught how many coyotes?
Today I had 18. 18
coyotes, just him. There ain't nobody else on this deal. It's 18 coyotes, and in that we probably skinned 14 of them.
Yeah, the other
ballpark. We skinned 14, and it's late season, so you're going to get a little bit more rubbing and things like that. But he's not on feedlots. Number one, I want to point that out. He's not on feedlots. He's on farm ground. He's on good farm ground, but on that. So averaging big numbers. Types of sets you're doing. I mean, right now, what's your types of sets?
Doing anything from dirt holes to I started experimenting with a little bit more trail setting.
Trail setting
for.
So you actually started trail setting in Maine.
In Maine,
correct?
Yep.
And that was a deal changer for you at the time. Is that right or no?
Yeah, because it seemed like it took my trapping to a different level.
Okay.
Because I was, instead of relying on them to come to dirt, I was getting them before they got to where I
got to before
my dirt. I still had dirt holes there.
Yeah.
But I just was looking for trails and tracks and setting those tracks and locations, and I caught probably, I think back home, 12 to 15 animals that I wouldn't have caught, which put me over the 200 mark as far as canines.
To canines in just Maine alone.
Yeah.
So I guess a lot of folks look at me and say, well, Ed, I don't have your trails that you have and I'm in the Flint Hills and things like that. But you didn't have physical trails, did you?
No.
So where were you finding the places to do a trail set?
For here?
In Maine.
In Maine, I would just I trapped a few gravel pits and stuff, and I was noticing where they kept traveling through.
You just were following tracks.
Following tracks, yeah.
And it is a trail, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, that's the big thing for me is trails are everywhere if we can see it, So we're out, you're in the crop ground primarily. Am I right? I mean, 90% of it's crop.
Yeah.
I mean, and a little bit of pasture in there. He's got pasture too. And things like that. So now that you're here, And I mean, I got a bragging moment here a little bit about my baits and lures, but
Mm-hmm.
talk about this recent deal. So you were going with one program, and then you added my bait to your stuff. Talk about just what a light switch can happen in like that.
As far as like a couple
Yeah,
days ago,
where-
my catch had dropped off.
Yeah.
I think I got 3.
Got 3 one day.
One day, and then 10. But then I switched over to your red
Flint Hills Red Fox.
Flint Hills Red Fox, and yeah, it was like a light switch. It turned on. I mean, yesterday I had 10, and then today I had the 18. You know, so I mean, it
just changed.
It changed.
And I guess not so much always just about my bait and lure, but I can say that sometimes having a change up and he went to a lot of his old sets and he just put my bait in them. Now, just put the bait in the set. And so let's go to the next thing is it isn't always just, maybe the next time he's been using bait, maybe he just needs to switch up to a different lure odor or something. I mean, I guess that's kind of what it's fun to learn all the time, you know. And I've been having a tickle out of Jason, where he's been doing these fox sets out here basically, simple, using a little deal, just kind of a depression where the trap is. I don't even want to call it a true step down because it's really just like a depression, a dish out. And I got some videos of me doing some of those, and I mean, he's nailing them.
Yeah,
I mean,
just keep
nailing
going,
them, just nailing them. So your hot spots is a lot of 2-track type roads, edges of the fields.
Yep,
Crop changes, stuff like that. I'll include a few pictures that Jason sent me of typical locations because I think that's important. I think you need to see variation and different things like that. So when you're in Maine and when you're here, I guess you really can't catch them unless they're there.
Right.
I mean, in Maine, you worked your butt off to get your. I mean, and don't get me wrong, folks. He has some tremendous catches. I mean, you were running how many traps? 150 traps.
150 traps.
150 traps. So he was catching his good share of 20 fox and coyote a day. So he was really working at it. But I guess what I'm saying is but now that you're here, all of a sudden now you're really catching coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
So it isn't so much. I guess what I'm trying to pass on to the trappers watching this, if your numbers are low, there's one or two things that's happening. It simply could be that you're in a lower population density. That's one thought goes through my mind, and you can say, well, you can't catch them if they're not there. That's true, but there's also folks out west where the coyotes will be there, but it's going to take longer for them to come back. So sometimes you need more time to sit on it. Over here, it's very possible there that if you have a dead area, he's got some dead areas, I got dead areas. There's some areas that we probably need to just go ahead after 7-8 days, pull the trap and go. Yeah. And then you got the ones you're just going to keep them going because you just kind of keep luring it and set it up. So you also saw another change in your trap line where you moved some sets, and you wish you'd done it sooner. I mean,
after catching 2 or 3 coyotes in a set, I noticed that they started. I would see fresh tracks, and they wouldn't work the set, or they wouldn't go into the catch circle. So I moved some of the traps. I just pulled the stakes, moved over 20 feet, and started catching again.
And then that reignited the thing. So it's one of those kind of deals. Are they there? Are they dead? Should I just go ahead and move? I talk about that in my book, 1 Square Mile, about I like having a fresh set after I've caught some, and that's in a different area. You know, here I think it still would apply to have either add a set or move one. You know, if you go with 2 traps and they're both have caught, perhaps a guy could add a third or just simply pull one and move it down a little bit. You know, whatever the thing is. But you got one set that's caught how many coyotes?
12, 13. You know. So.
12 or 30. I mean, so you never know if the right time is to pull or to stay or what. I think you can get away with it a little bit more when the population's higher. Mm-hmm. I mean, the higher the population, it isn't necessarily that coyote's going to jump into it, but you got another one that will. So it's different things like that. Now are you the acting president or vice president of the Maine Trappers?
I'm the vice president.
You're the vice president.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I want to do something for the Maine organization, and so if folks are interested in going to a meeting or joining your organization, what's the best way for them to contact people? Do you have a website or a?
There is a website, and then there is also actually you can go right on Facebook. They have a Facebook page.
Facebook Maine Trappers
Maine Trappers Association.
Maine Trappers Association. Okay.
And his name is Marvin. He does the coordination of that and stuff.
So contact Marvin through Facebook. That's an option.
Yep.
And do you have a date for your meeting for this year or your convention or anything?
Right now everything is on hold.
It's because of the COVID. Yeah. Well, I mean, they can still jump in and look at the Facebook page for updates and things like that.
Yep.
The trapping organizations, folks, I believe are very important. I'm a director of the Kansas Fur Harvesters, but we all got to do our part to keep our interest alive, and we do a service to the communities for our country and for our communities on managing wildlife populations. It's up to us. So, Jason, it was a pleasure having you here, and it's been a lot of fun. I will post some more information. It was so windy today that today you're going to get to see his catch. He didn't bring a couple of them home because they were very mangy and stuff, but you're going to see Jason's catch that I probably already will have done it by now, but it just it was so windy, they were just impossible. I don't know, we had 50 mile an hour wind. Yeah, 50 mile an hour wind. So I mean, it was absolutely terrible to film today. So we're having a lot of fun. Thanks for watching, Trappers and Tight. So you made it out here to Kansas.
Yep.
And pretty much talk about how you what was your strategy on asking for land? How'd you get here and all that stuff?
Well, I flew down twice this summer and basically just went and knocked on doors and tried to get my foot into some places, but some people were pretty hesitant and some people were willing. So I did that a couple times this summer, and then lined it up so that I could come down here in January. And once I got here, one of the previous guys that I had talked to, I contacted him, and he set me up pretty good with a place to skin. And
yeah, it's a great place. It's a great place here.
He's helped out quite a bit. So
yeah. Now, as far as your season, because you really have you trap quite a bit through the year. You're a very very diligent trapper. You've done bear trapping. You've done you just do it all up in Maine. But tell us about your fox and your coyote seasons in Maine. How many you up to and all that stuff?
Back home, I trapped 77 coyotes and 128 fox.
Nice.
Our coyote catch for the year is usually only about 1,700.
For the entire state.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have 10% of it.
Yeah,
well, or 5% anyway. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, your catch here, how you doing? How many you up to?
I think it's somewhere around 150.
150 coyotes. So you're well over 200. You're around 220 coyotes total for the year.
For the year.
Yeah, very nice.
And they came a lot quicker than the ones back.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. And I mean, a lot of it comes down to, because you've been on some areas that weren't very productive, aren't you?
Yes.
I mean, you got some land that it's just a big fat. I mean, I don't want to call it zero, but there's zeros and hero spots. So. Yeah. So the areas you're in, and I guess let's go to another thing. What types of sets are you catching them on? I mean, tell the guys what's successful for you. Let's go back to Maine.
Maine, I use a step-down set.
Step-down dirt hole.
Step-down dirt hole.
Okay.
When I came out here, and back home, I did experiment with the trail set, which I did very well with.
Okay.
Back home, and when I came down here, I just used the standard old.
Fox set, dirt hole set. Yeah.
And with a mix of some trail sets and stuff. I've been doing more trail sets towards the end. I didn't put it in as many as I probably should have in the beginning. Yeah. So what you gained out of this year, and I won't keep you much longer because you're trying to get all these coyotes flesh.
out of this year, what were some of the takeaways from you that really snuck up on you that you're doing different this year than you were in previous years or whatever? That's because I think growth in a trapper is always important.
It was just learning the trail sets, because before I was strictly just dirt hole, set dirt hole, dirt hole, dirt hole. And now where I've been it's kind of taken it to a different level of looking for trail sets coming into fields and stuff, where to set up for trail sets.
And you're starting to pick up animals that were avoiding your set, as I recall.
Exactly, yep.
Yeah, that's a big one for you. And you're not the only one. There's a lot of guys of mine that's starting to do trails and things like that. So I think that's fabulous, you know, the way we're going at it and having fun doing it. So unfortunately, the quality of our fur is starting to go bad here, so we got to call out a few of them that are rubbing and things like that.
Yeah,
so
with the mange and everything.
With the mange, but he, you know, I'll say this is Jason is developing a good relationship with these guys out here, the rancher that's on this place, and you're going to have a nice line for next year.
Yeah. Well, here I am. Day before getting ready to head home. I'm 15 days into, actually 16 days into this Kansas line, and I took 15 coyotes today. This brings my total up to 190 canines. The last, well, probably 4 days ago, I had a check of 3, and I changed my lure because my line kind of went dead, which I thought went dead, but it actually didn't. I started using some of Ed Snyder's Flint Hills Red Fox paste bait, and you can see here I had a day of 18, 10, and a day of 15 today, so it wasn't quite dead. It just needed a little bit of a change. So if anybody's looking for a good lure, also Moonshot is another great bait lure to use with this, with his paste bait. So check it out, and it will work for you as it is for me.